when I came back from Afghanistan this last time, I had been in an explosion. I had to be medevac back home. Ended up messing up my spine, my elbows, knees, and shoulders, and was diagnosed with PTSD, traumatic brain injury, along with anxiety, depression, some other things. Once I moved back home there, it's like my life was lost. I didn't come out of the house for 2 years. The only thing I did was visit the VA for my appointments and go right back home.
What you just saw is the impact many of our veterans face when coming back home. Welcome to RealConvo. I'm Miranda Kahn here with my co-host Alan Mednick, and today we're not focusing on the problem because it is a serious problem, but more the solution. And here to help us do that is the president of Vets Helping Heroes, retired Lieutenant Colonel Air Force and POW of Vietnam, Melvin Pollack. Such a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
It's an honor, and thank you for your service.
Thank you very much.
It is a real honor. I mean, what you have done for this country is amazing. And I love the organization that you're with. It's called Vets Helping Heroes.
Yes.
And we use that term a lot. You know, we call baseball players heroes. We call everybody heroes out there.
But you're the real deal. You are a hero.
Well,
a true American hero.
Yeah. So what I want to do, Mel, is I want to get into a little bit about your background and how you started. You were in the Air Force?
Yes. After I graduated from NYU, I joined the Air Force, went through officer training school, pilot training, and became a fighter pilot and flew the F-4 Phantoms.
And that was in Vietnam?
Yeah. Well, I flew the F-4 Phantom for almost my whole 20-year career, and I flew 78 combat missions in Vietnam, yes.
78. But one in particular.
Oh, yeah.
1967, July 6th. Tell us about that.
Well, that was supposed to be a milk run, as we used to say.
A milk run?
A milk run to a lightly defended railroad storage yard up in North Vietnam, not far from Hanoi. Well, when we got there, the weather was bad. The secondary target was weathered out. So we hit this tertiary target, lightly defended railroad storage yard. And I was leading a 4-ship of F-4 Phantoms. And in the dive bomb run, I took a direct hit from the anti-aircraft fire.
Oh. Wow.
And that was kind of all she wrote. The jet was dead. We pulled up, going supersonic because everything came off the airplane. And at about 22,000 feet and 600 knots, 675 miles an hour, lost the hydraulics and the airplane went out of control and we ejected.
Wow.
I can't even imagine what's going on in your mind when that's happening.
Nothing. When you realize in my case, when you realize the airplane is hit and in really serious trouble, the body goes into its self-defense shock modes, and we do everything we can. And then once she went out of control, just pull the ejection handle. Survival.
You had mentioned something I saw in a previous interview where you had, when you were setting up to take off, you do the checkpoints and you give your thumbs up, and something wasn't right.
Oh, yeah. Very interesting. The crew chiefs always help you strap in, and then they give you the ejection seat pin and everything. And I gave the crew chief thumbs up, and he kept shaking his head no. Thumbs up again, shaking his head no. I had forgot to put my shoulder strap together.
Unreal.
Had that ever happened to you before?
No.
But that one moment.
That one mission, it clipped it. Then he gave me a thumbs up, gave me the ejection seat pin. That was it.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, that was first time I'd ever missed a checklist item.
Now you ejected. You had back injuries from that?
Yeah, the airplane was out of control and going very high speed, and the shot of the ejection seat, and then I landed on top of this rock mountain, like volcanic rock mountain, with a thud that going back was my head snapped back, cracked my flying helmet. But so I had back injuries. Yes.
Yes.
When you landed, you had the walkie-talkie, and you had things that you actually broke off. You had guns.
Well, what we had, first of all, in those days we carried 38 revolvers. Mm-hmm. I was so deep in North Vietnam, north of Hanoi, not far from the Chinese border. I just emptied out my revolver, play it safe. You're not going to have a shootout, And then we carried 2 survival radios to communicate with rescue forces. Mm-hmm. And so I just broke the antennae off of them so they couldn't use them.
You went through all this, you were physically pained, but you still had the mental
trained.
aptitude to
trained
do
for
all
that.
The
Right.
military is very highly trained, competent people.
Now, what happened after that?
Well, it's hard to judge time. You know, people say,
Right.
"How long was I in my parachute?" I know I had a watch on, but I wasn't checking my watch.
Yeah, you were in clear survival mode, but
Yeah.
that training exercises,
Yeah.
they just
Yeah, so
Came to you
everything just
naturally.
snaps in, and I think maybe 20 minutes, a bunch of about, I don't know, 30 or 40 or more peasants all came over, and they're all looking at me, and I'm looking at them wide-eyed, you know, and I indicate I'm not a threat. And just about every single one of them, including the little kids, had these rifles with the metal folding stock like you see in the old French Foreign Legion movies. Well, you're too young for that. But
thank you. Thank you so
and,
much, Mel. I appreciate
and here I
that.
am, the kid from New York City, Long Island, and they're all pointing at me. But you're in shock, and it's just what it is. And then they led me down the mountain, and actually they lived in caves. Very nice. And they treated me very well, and the militia came and got us that night.
And then they took you to what's called the Hanoi Hilton?
Yeah, that famous French prison that the French built in all their colonies. If you've ever seen the Steve McQueen movie, Papillon, the same prison down in Guyana, French Guyana, same hellhole.
Yeah. Well, what was that? I mean, I'm sitting here on the edge of my seat because your life is like a movie. It really
It
is.
is.
So you see those guns, they take you to this prison. Describe your experience.
It's hard to describe because
You spent, what, 2,000 days?
2,068 days,
days.
5 years and 8 months.
And by the way, you went in a few months before I was born in 1967. I was
thank
born
you
in
very much.
October 1967. So I was almost
You're
6
still
years.
young.
I know. But you were there. I was 5 years old when you came out.
Yeah, and my friend John McCain was shot down in October of '67.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I can't even imagine that experience. I
No, you can't imagine it.
No.
It's like going from, in those days, with North Vietnam being such a tightly controlled communist country, and in those days, it was like going from the 21st century to the Stone Age. Open sewers, low voltage electricity, water. We had water when it rained, you know, stuff like that, and very poor country at the time.
Now, mentally, how did you keep your sanity, basically, during that time?
Yeah, good question.
Well, a lot of mental gymnastics go in your mind. You know, I was doing quadratic equations in my mind. I was building cars in my mind. I was surfing in my mind.
That's right, because you majored in economy, right?
Economics.
Yeah,
right.
economics, not economy, but
you know,
economics.
I was a hot rodder and a surfer and a beach bum, you know, and then when we did get to live with some other guys, everybody had their different experiences, and we discussed.
So were you alone or were you with other people?
Initially, I was alone for a short period, a few weeks, and then it's kind of like they teach you in the Air Force survival schools. It's a Cold War situation. They keep you in small groups of 2, 3, and 4 people. No news of the outside world. Total blackout. We had a little squawk box in each cell where they play the 30 minutes of Radio Hanoi, or as we called it, Hanoi Hannah, all the propaganda
Yeah.
and stuff. And you just keep active, and I don't know if I can say this, but we weren't going to let the bastards get us down.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah, I think you're entitled to say that,
Yeah.
given what you did. So you were determined, no matter what. Did you think you were going to get out?
Well, first of all, we're trained to uphold the code of conduct.
Okay.
No. And you very quickly find out that name, rank, serial number, and date of birth doesn't work. And so you do the best you can, and you wonder after X number of years what the future is going to be.
You actually, they said you could have got out if you signed a piece of paper.
Well, they had some early political releases, and I want to choose my words very carefully here. I, like many others, were offered a chance for an early release. And I don't know where I got the chutzpah from, but I actually said to my interrogator, well, if you put me on a water buffalo and send me out of North Vietnam, I'll leave. But obviously that's not the case.
Yeah.
They wanted video. They wanted audio tapes, meeting foreign delegations, a letter admitting to being a Yankee air pirate or a war criminal, you know, on and on. And of the 12 people who left, one did not do that, a young Navy enlisted fellow named Doug Hegdel, and he brought home the truth to Henry Kissinger and to our administration. And actually, I understand, went to Paris with Henry Kissinger during the negotiations to call out the North Vietnamese.
Wow. It's just the mental courage that you had to go through, and to keep your, I don't know if the sanity is the right word, but
mental gymnastics, as you
mental
said. If I could
gymnastics.
even do one quadratic equation, that would be amazing. There's a reason why I'm doing this. So I'm just impressed that you were able to do that for that extended period of time. I mean, immediately I'm thinking of Tom Hanks on the island.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you relate? Have you seen that movie?
Yes,
Did you relate to that? And go,
trust
yeah?
me, I saw that movie. It
Yeah.
was a knots during the whole movie.
Yeah, I bet. We only have about a minute left remaining in this segment, but I do want to go to you getting back home and how you became involved in this incredible organization, because what you're doing to help veterans, because they need it. They need it so bad.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, to make a long story short, I've had my 20-year Air Force career, my 22-year corporate America career, and I was involved with aviation in South Florida, basically for the last 100 years.
Yeah.
And I met Irwin, the founder of the organization, through the Boca Pilots Association. And he had been a prisoner of war in a B-17, a B-24 bombardier
Yeah.
in Stalag 1 in Germany.
I can't wait to hear his incredible story.
Oh,
So we have to go to a commercial break, but I want to talk about that because
Okay.
his story is incredible too. So
Yeah.
coming up next here on Real Convo, the Executive Director of Vets Helping Heroes, Lisa Fendrich, joins us to discuss the incredible story of how this organization was founded by a man who served time in a Nazi prison camp during World War II. You don't want to miss it. You're watching Real Convo with Alan Mednick and Miranda Kahn. We'll be right back.
Wanted to do something to help those that were coming back not as lucky
Now
as
we're
I.
talking about young people coming back that are brain damaged, and young people coming back without arms and legs. And how are they going to get around, and who's going to help them, and who's going to guide them? And it has to be a dog.
Oh, welcome back to Real Convo.
that was the founder of Vets Helping Heroes. And
Love
let me
that
tell
shot
you,
of the puppy giving him kisses.
I knew you would. But, you know, he's saying that he wanted to help. I mean, this is a man that was in a Nazi prison camp.
Right.
And what he must have went through. And to come back and want to give back, I mean, obviously it's years later, but
he is giving back, and he's continuing to
God.
give back. The legacy, his legacy
Right.
is, and we're going to get into that here in just a second. But rejoining us once again is the president of Vets Helping Heroes, Melvin Pollack. We're also pleased to welcome in to have a real convo, executive director for Vets Helping Heroes, Lisa Fendrich. Thank you both for joining us. I want to get to the founder's story, but Mel, your story is so compelling. So here you are spending over 2,000 days in a prison camp,
Communist prison camp.
communist prison camp during Vietnam War. How did you get home?
Well, they announced to us one day, in typical communist fashion, in a courtyard, and they film everything. And they announced the war was over, we're going home. We showed no emotion, nothing. Went back to our cells
Now, why is that?
because that's where we were trained. We're not going to give the communists any propaganda.
did you believe them?
Oh yeah. By this time, when they do it that way, you know they're for real.
Okay.
There was some doubt, but basically what they went through to pull it off, the way they pulled it off, it was for real. So then we went back and we got excited privately and waited for the rest to happen. And in the next few weeks, the details came out and it happened.
And when you landed, when you put your 2 feet on American soil,
Well,
what was
yeah.
that? What was that feeling like
Well,
for
it was
you?
great. We
Because-
flew from Hanoi, Jalam Airport in Hanoi, to Clark Air Base in the Philippines, where we spent 3 days or so getting haircuts, uniforms, teeth fixed, civilized, some debriefing, psychiatrist, you know, the usual. And then it was great. It was absolutely great. And then from there, flew from there to Hawaii to refuel, and Hawaii nonstop all the way to Washington, D.C. And in my case, I went up to Westover Air Force Base in Massachusetts, being a New Yorker, and my parents and my sister and my family were there. It was great.
And you actually stayed in the Air Force after that.
Yeah, well, it wound up that by it was a thing for me I wanted to do, keep flying jet fighters, and I was an instructor pilot in the Phantom at Homestead Air Force Base and a safety officer, accident investigator. And then when I retired from the Air Force, the airlines weren't hiring, which has been my whole thing. They didn't, so I stayed in internationally in aviation, aerospace, space, the military-industrial complex for another 22 years.
Wow.
So,
What was the experience like for you coming back? Because obviously there's a reason why you got involved in this organization. I can't even imagine mentally the impact that would have on you.
the coming back or the organization?
The coming back, because
Well, the
obviously
coming
the
back for
organization.
me, the
yeah.
coming back for me was simpler than for some of the other guys. I use the term guys because we was
And you
men.
knew Senator McCain.
Yes,
Yeah.
he and I became very good
We're close
friends.
friends.
Great guy, absolutely great guy. And I was young and single when I got shot down. So when I got off the airplane, I was looking straight ahead at Mach 2, you might say, for the future. The past was the past, and that was my whole outlook
Yeah.
the entire time.
But you, I'm sure, had friends that struggled. I'm sure you
Well, we
had
still
some of your
do.
personal
Oh,
struggles.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, obviously.
Well, yes, you know, there were family issues and other things, and being away so many years. We all, even in my situation, a lot of adjustment.
Yeah.
A lot of adjustment, and you do what you have to do.
But you found this great organization, and I want to hear, Lisa, I want to hear the whole story between the two of you, how this organization was founded, its mission. We just saw some of the video with the founder.
Yeah, let me tell you something else. There's another story that he has with the founder that's amazing. You know,
I just love
You-
it when he says amazing.
amazing. You have a connection.
That's his key word, by the way.
So the founder, Erwin, which we're going to go into, was in a Nazi POW camp.
Right, he was in Stalag Luft 1, which was the big Allied prison camp there in Barth, Germany, on the North Sea. And I think they may have had 20 or 30,000 Allied prisoners there. So I meet Erwin through the Boca Pilots organization, and he mentions it, and I said, well, my uncle was a B-17 pilot out of England in the 8th Air Force and was also in Stalag Luft 1 for 9 months. And I give Erwin my uncle's name, and Erwin actually has to sit down and take his breath, catch his breath, because in this Allied POW camp of 20 or 30,000 prisoners, he was in a cell. My uncle had the bed bunk below his.
Oh, my hair is standing.
It's, you know, it's one of the things you can't make up.
You
and-
can't make up.
No.
And
There's
it's
no coincidences. in
amazing
life.
coincidence. Amazing coincidence.
Oh,
And then Erwin had retired from his corporate career and was what you might call a service officer at the VA, a volunteer through the American ex-POWs, and helping veterans get their benefits. And he saw that many of them needed help, but the VA didn't provide service dogs. And so that's how the organization got
Now,
started.
did he have a service dog at that point?
No, not at that point. It wasn't until after the organization was founded that one of our providers gave him a service dog named Cash.
Now that's funny
I
because
love that.
I had German Shepherds growing up. I had 4 of them that were named Cash. Cash 1, 2, 3, and 4. So
really? You couldn't come up with anything more
yeah,
creative?
well, that was
Cash
my dad.
1, 2,
that was
3,
my
4.
dad. So my dogs were either Cash or Flash. But anyway, we'll go into
Cash
another
and
story.
Flash. Lisa, why did you want to get involved with this organization?
Oh, well, it's an amazing organization. I'm blessed to be part of it. I was approached by the board of directors to take on the executive director position, and I was thrilled. I had been working a little bit with the charity, with the other executive director prior to me. So what more could you want to do in life? I
So how
help
does it
save
work?
lives.
Yeah.
I see amazing, animals that do amazing things. So
Were they all
it's
named
incredible.
Cash? No.
I named Cash. No, they were not. But Cash was Irwin's service dog, and right by his side till the very end.
And he passed away in 2018.
Correct.
Right?
He was in hospice, and Cash was with him right at the door, and he would
Wouldn't
not
leave.
leave.
Wouldn't leave.
Oh.
But as soon as Irwin passed, he knew. He got up and he walked away. But he stayed with him till the end. That's how they are.
So the organization works to team up veterans with dogs, right? This is
Our
services
sole
that they're
mission
not-
at
yeah.
Vets Helping Heroes is to raise funds so that we can provide specially trained, certified service dogs and guide dogs for blind veterans, veterans with loss of limbs, veterans with PTSD, hearing loss. And we provide these dogs to the veterans at no cost to the veteran.
And these dogs actually provide, what humans would do. They're basically
They do what
they're
humans
basically
Even
cannot
counselors.
do.
They're
More.
basically, they help them with PTS. They help them with their
PTSD.
loss of limbs.
We save their lives.
Yeah.
And you'll hear many, many of our testimonials, and you hear our veterans say that they were just giving up. And the dog just brought their life back, and they brought their families back, their wives back. The medications were gone. The
Wow.
dogs,
The medications were gone.
That's amazing.
That's key.
the dogs are just incredible.
One of the
train
things
a
that differentiates
while.
us from other similar charities is, with the exception of Lisa, who's our only paid employee, we are all volunteers. Roughly 90 cents of every dollar donated goes towards a service dog.
Wow. That's so key that you said that, because I know there are a lot of charitable organizations. They always say, what is it, 10% usually? Is it charity.org? I'm not sure if that's still the
Yeah.
website.
Well,
but
actually,
that's
some
something to
organizations
check
are
out.
like 50%.
Yeah.
There's
Or
to
higher.
be, yeah.
Well, how many is actually going to the specific cause?
Right,
Is
some
the
it's as
key
low as
part.
10%.
Yeah.
We're 90% roughly.
90%.
Yeah, we keep our
Yes.
overhead low, we're all volunteers.
Very small office.
What is it like for you, Mel, having served, been a prisoner of war during Vietnam, to see these veterans and see their lives change like that?
It's unbelievable, because they've had, many of them have been medicated, in some cases over-medicated.
Right?
Some of them have gone to alcohol and or drugs. Family help, this help, that help, medical help. The dog, I can't begin to tell you what it brings to the equation.
Yeah.
The changes we have seen are truly monumental.
And it saves their children's lives, because their children are so affected,
Then-
because they are so isolating from their families, that when these dogs come into play, the children's lives
The testimonials from the
are
wives,
saved.
how they saved the marriage, saved this, saved
Because
that.
it doesn't just affect, like, let's take you, for example. It doesn't just impact you. It impacts
Everybody around you.
everything
Yes.
around you.
Yes,
Every
that's
aspect
exactly
of
right.
your life is affected.
That's
Right.
exactly right.
Yeah, we say, like, with suicide, for every suicide, there's 125 people that are affected by it. I can only imagine what's affected.
There are
when they
22
come-
veteran suicides a day right
Yeah.
now, and growing.
And they're more likely to actually die by suicide than in combat.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to talk more about your organization. We're going to take a quick little commercial break, but Mel, Lisa, I want you to stick around. I want to learn more about the training that's involved when it comes
Yeah.
to these dogs.
And we
you
actually
mentioned
have some testimonials coming
Yeah,
up, too.
so I want to hear from some of those veterans and their wives, some of the people that you mentioned coming up. Stick around. We'll be right back. You're watching Real Convo.
But little different places here, there, and eventually within about 8 months, I was driving down I-4. Almost immediately, my wife was like, you're talking to people, you're not sitting in dark rooms, you're actually going out, little by little with the family to new places. He's allowed me to, become almost who I used to be. So, but without him, I wouldn't be here. Better.
I love hearing that. Welcome back to Real Convo. What a difference.
I keep on saying chills. I got chills again now.
Yeah.
So we heard his story coming into the show. and how he was going through PTSD and and the troubles he had coming back, realigning with civilian life.
Right.
And
Which so many veterans.
absolutely. And then how a dog helped him, more than anything else did. It's
Right.
amazing now he's actually able to function.
Yeah, it's amazing what animals can do. That's what they say, man's best friend.
Absolutely.
Right? Rejoining us once again is the president of Vets Helping Heroes, Melvin Pollack. We're also pleased to welcome in again Executive Director for Vets Helping Heroes, Lisa Fendrich. Thank you both for sticking around. Obviously, you see it firsthand over and over again. If you had to estimate, because the organization was founded in 2007.
2007.
So if you had to estimate, just roughly speaking, how many veterans you've helped?
I would say over 450.
And
Wow.
that's
Dogs.
just the veterans themselves, not even the people that are around them.
The
Which we were
recipients.
talking about the
Just the
ripple effect.
recipient of the dog, yeah. We've funded over 450 dogs. Some are guide dogs as well for the blind.
Yeah, that's an amazing story, what he went through.
Yes, he is an amazing man. He actually, to this day now, helps at one of our training facilities welcome the new veterans coming in and helping them see just what they're in for and how wonderful their life is going to be, and to have faith in the program. And they love him.
So you gave to him, and now he's giving back
Now
too.
he's giving back.
I love it.
And just like you.
Yeah.
Just like
you.
Mal,
You keep
yes.
on giving, right?
And Erwin, and-
Keep on giving. What is it about animals? I mean, we hear it all the time, but I mean, obviously, I'm a huge animal lover. Sadly, I lost my dog. My dog passed away, but you do have this bond. They see you. They know what you're feeling, and it is incredible that can just completely transform someone's life like that.
They become your guardian angel.
The other thing I say about dogs is they're non-judgmental too. So no
Yeah.
matter what you're going through, they're just going to show love for you.
That's it.
And it's just a natural.
And protect you and be there for you no matter what. They know when these veterans are having an episode of anxiety,
They feel all this.
they feel it.
Yeah.
They're
And
right
actually,
there.
I've even seen with, like one of the veterans had an epilepsy attack. And
They can sense it.
They retrieve medical equipment, they retrieve help, they know to go find a friend. If a veteran is, passed out or...
Veterans with
Tell if their blood sugars are low.
Right,
Is that what you're
exactly
getting ready to
right.
say?
Absolutely.
And with the PT, I don't know how they do it with their nose, I guess, with the diabetes. But with the
2 years of
PTSD,
training.
you'll see people come up to a veteran, the dog will interpose itself between the veteran and the people. It's a safe
Oh,
space
yes.
and stuff. It's amazing.
Did you know that?
Before this? No.
Yeah.
Before I got involved with Vets Helping Hero, I read about it.
You read about it. But what was it like actually seeing it firsthand?
Beyond belief. And actually, we've been to some of our training facilities where we've participated in some of the training. And that is an eye-opener.
Yeah, what was the most shocking for you?
Well, I blindfolded, and they gave me the harness to a service dog to walk this obstacle course. And you laugh it off, and then after the first couple of minutes, all of a sudden you're feeling everything almost like a fishing rod through your hand as the dog is signaling.
Leading you.
And 15 minutes later, I came out a total believer.
Wow.
It blew me away. I was flabbergasted by it.
We were mentioning earlier that you were saying how many people are affected when someone dies by suicide, because obviously, and we're talking about suicide because you lost your daughter, you
Right.
lost your niece, I lost my sister by suicide. The numbers have been going up because of this pandemic, and it's a huge problem, obviously, when it comes to our veterans. But you were saying how many people are affected by
About
it?
125 people.
But 125 people
Per
are affected
person.
per person. So every person that dies by suicide, that many people are impacted. From working with these veterans, as a veteran yourself, that it doesn't just impact you when you serve. It impacts everyone. We just heard from that veteran how his wife was affected by that. And we have somebody else that we
Yeah.
want to show, another testimonial of how much your organization is helping people and that ripple effect, right?
Yeah.
And so who are we going to hear from? We're going to hear from a woman.
Her name is Kelly.
Her name is Kelly. Okay,
you're
let's
gonna
take a listen to what Kelly
what
has
Kelly
to say
says.
about your wonderful organization.
I had severe TBI, a lot of balance issues, PTSD on top of it. But my main thing was major anger. I was constantly getting in trouble. You know, I just had this mentality. It was up to me to educate the public. Being heroes, and just watching them and what they were doing with the dogs. And Cook just ran up to me one day and put his head on my lap, looked up at me, and then I knew. And since I'm getting Cook, you know, I'm not on any medications. I've had no issues, and it's been 4 years now. Cook.
It's amazing. You know, and she was, what was she, a corpsman or a medic?
She was a medic.
She was a medic. And she helped other people medically. And
Because they
now,
always want to help other people before helping themselves. I think that's just naturally
She
ingrained.
couldn't help herself, no
Right.
matter what she did, until she got Cook.
and she
Yeah.
came off all her medication.
Yes. And she's another veteran that also helps new veterans in the program.
And I don't want to, you know, we talk about it a lot in this program, and I don't want anybody to feel like they shouldn't take their medication if they need it.
Right.
Obviously, consult your doctor.
Right.
But going back to the point that you brought up, Mel, and Alan and I have brought this up several times, it does seem like it's a little overkill, if you will, when it comes to over-medicating our population, that everything should just be a pill. I don't know if that's the solution for everything, and it's so wonderful to hear that she was able to get off her medication. That should be the goal, right?
It should be the
Yes.
goal, absolutely, and that's what it is, really.
You know, modify the medication so they can be a more productive member of society.
Right, but these are specially trained dogs, so someone just can't get a dog and say, okay, I can come off my medication.
No, these
No,
dogs,
These
It's-
aren't just support
These
animals.
dogs receive roughly 2 years of training.
yes.
by the time
Explain
they're
us
born.
about the training a little bit. Are there any particular dogs that work better than others? I was looking at, I believe, golden retrievers seem to be what we were
Labs
seeing.
and golden retrievers.
Retrievers.
Well, also the labradoodles for hypoallergenic dogs.
And then the Goldador, which is bred for more bracing, for a veteran who has loss of limbs and needs to brace.
Wow.
It
It's a
has a
stronger-
physique where it's big enough.
I don't even know if
help.
I've ever heard of that.
No,
Have you heard of it?
no.
No.
I only recently heard of it myself, but
Yeah,
it's true.
It's called golden
Goldador.
Goldador.
Yeah.
It sounds like something out of a Harry Potter, like fountain.
think it's a-
Goldador.
I think
I accept Goldador.
Yeah.
So are
No,
there
but-
any other, like, are there small dogs, or is it normally a bigger sized dog?
It's usually golden retrievers, Labradors. Yeah.
They-
No German Shepherds.
No. Well, we do have a few shepherds.
Look at these. Look at this. Getting laundry.
That's Ripple. He does laundry.
You do have German Shepherds, but then again, a Labrador or a Golden, they're less threatening, quote unquote, to the populace.
Is that what it
even
is?
though the Shepherd will be beautifully trained, some people shy away.
Really?
Not the
Is that because
recipient.
they associate it
No,
with like police
I don't know.
officers and that
Maybe.
kind of
Maybe
thing?
more
and
canine.
sniffing
Yeah,
security?
not the recipients, but general population.
Now, I know they're one of the smartest breeds. Is that particular why? Are they just better? Has somebody even attempted to try with other breeds? I'm just
Yeah, they've
curious.
tried
They've
various
attempted.
different breeds, but Labradors and Retrievers seem to be the best suited, shall we say.
I've heard some of them refer to them as their battle buddies.
Oh yeah,
yes.
they bond. That's the
What,
bond.
what does exactly that word mean, battle buddy?
I really don't know, but I think I think they bond with their service
Yeah.
animal, just like they would in the foxhole with their battle buddies.
I mean, yeah.
Well, like we in the fighter squadron, we bonded. We worked together.
They're
Well,
a team.
Wow.
I'll admit it, I am one of those people where I'm a sucker when they have those videos of veterans coming home and their dogs and their
Yeah.
reactions.
Oh
So
yeah,
You've seen them. It doesn't matter. I can watch that over and over and
it's amazing.
over again.
The connection is amazing.
Yeah. So do you have any animals? You don't have a service dog.
No,
No.
I don't need one.
You don't need one. You're okay right now.
Right.
How many dogs have you trained?
Oh, well,
Do you know?
geez, well, we've given away 450
Oh.
plus, and I'm sure there are a few that didn't make it through because the training is very rigorous. They don't all make the cut.
And they're only good for like a certain amount of years
8
of
to
service.
10 years. And
Roughly,
then we
yeah.
retire them.
They work hard.
And Vets Helping Heroes gives a gift of life and also a gift for life. So when the dog is retired, it becomes a member of the veteran's family and we replace the working dog.
Ah,
So it's basically their
interesting.
pet now.
It becomes the family.
Yeah, once you take the vest
pet,
off, it's a pet.
And then
I want to talk about that a little bit because
Yeah.
they're trained about, if someone comes over the house, you're okay to go up and pet them as long as that vest is on.
Once the vest is on, they're working, and they know it.
They know it, yeah.
And then whenever you see someone with a service dog, never pet the dog without asking.
Yeah, that's important.
Very
And it's so
important.
tempting to do it.
The vests say it on there, but people don't look at the vest, they're looking at the dogs. So.
Right.
But yeah.
I want to learn more about what they specifically do. I know we talked about some of their tasks, but I think it's important especially when you say 2 years of training. It sounds pretty intense, and where you get these trainers, because I would imagine it's a little limited, right? Limited pool there. So stick around. We're going to discuss much more. You're watching RealConvo. We'll be right back. And welcome back to RealConvo. Rejoining us once again is the president of Vets Helping Heroes, Melvin Pollack. We're also pleased to have with us again the executive director for Vets Helping Heroes, Lisa Fendrich. So we were talking about the intensive training that these dogs go through. It's 2 years of training. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
And I'm sure not all the dogs actually make it through.
They don't.
Where do you get these dogs? We said that you primarily focus on labs and retrievers. Where do these dogs come from?
Well, we use about 5 different facilities around the country. One is in Santa Rosa, California, one is out in Colorado, we have 3 in Florida, and 1 branching out to Georgia. So we do research, and we have very strict guidelines that we require in order for them to get funded by Vets Helping Heroes. They must adhere to reports quarterly. There's a lot that goes into this before we choose a
And
facility.
obviously the vets are throughout the whole country.
The veterans come from their local VAs that are sent to these training facilities, and then they contact us. Sometimes they contact us directly.
Is there certain specifications that are needed for them to qualify?
They must have an honorable discharge, a DD-214, and a letter from a treating physician that basically says that they would benefit from the use of a service dog or guide dog.
And how many dog trainers do you have? Because I'm a big fan of dog training. I did it with my dog. It's really human training for me. It was more training for me. But I would imagine this is like a whole other level.
It depends
we have
on-
some video. We'll get to it in a moment. I'm showing what these dogs specifically do. But
It depends on the facility. We have one facility that trains the guide dogs that is a huge campus.
right.
That has many, I don't even know how many employees. It all depends. Our St. Cloud location is a little smaller, but we have 5 different
Facilities.
certified training facilities that we fund.
And 2 years of training for these dogs, it's got to cost a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. We pay an average of $20,000 to $25,000 per service
Wow.
dog. But
What?
Wow.
But the guide dogs,
Guide dog is 60,000.
60,000 each. But that training is intensive.
60,000 each.
For
It's a
seeing
pair of
eye
eyes.
dog.
It's
For
someone's
seeing eye
Is
dog.
that also
vision.
2-year training, or?
A little longer
It
than
is
2
all-
years. Yeah.
But similar.
So let's show some of the video if we can, so people understand, because I know it's extensive training that we're talking about. Obviously, it's very expensive. You said 25. Let me just want to get the number right.
20,000 to 25,000, depending on the facility that we're obtaining the dog from. Yes, and 60,000 for the guide dogs. That doesn't change.
So explain the reason for the cost. Obviously, it's expensive with 5 different facilities and the trainers, and you're very particular about the certain dogs that you're getting. But we were going through a little bit. We saw some video of helping laundry. Can you just kind of go through, obviously, with what some of these dogs are capable of doing? Obviously, it depends on the vet.
Well, yeah, they train for 7 months as puppies, just learning about 45 different commands on their own, and then they begin getting paired with veterans. They are not just given to any veteran. These veterans are introduced to several dogs, and they have to bond in order to become a
Who
pair.
provides the actual dog?
The training facility.
Oh,
These 5
We-
training facilities we mentioned earlier.
They breed them and they train them. We pay for all of that. The veterinarian care, the entire time.
Yeah, as we mentioned before, our only function in life as Vets Helping Heroes is we raise funds so that we can donate dogs to disabled veterans.
We have
and
no-
we do it through these training
No
facilities.
dogs in Boca Raton. That's just our office.
And where do you get the funds from?
Private foundations, grants.
Yeah, we advertise, well, we don't, not advertise, but we're on social media. We reach out to the various organizations. We have a number of very nice people have signed up for recurring monthly donations. A number of foundations we work with.
Basically grant writing,
we do a
social
lot of
media.
grant writing.
Now we're lucky enough to have that. We can reach so many people, so many more people. But our funding needs for the rest of this year are pretty high. In order to save 40 veterans on the several lists that we have, we need $800,000.
$800,000?
And these are just service dog recipients.
Wow.
So
Wow, I'm just writing down that number just to serve 40 veterans, $800,000.
20,000 dogs. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
at
actually,
an average of 20,000.
Have you ever done a study of how much a dog has saved a veteran in medical expenses?
We have not.
No,
I mean, I'd be interested to
That
see
would be interesting to find
the
out.
life. So for $20,000 to spend on a dog, you know, it might be $100,000 worth of.
Or over the life of the service dog and the follow-on service dog, many times that possibly.
Do you ever try to coordinate, because it seems like there are so many separate organizations trying to help veterans because they're not always getting the help that they need from the VA. Have you experienced that as well? Have you tried to work with the VA or team up with some of these other veteran organizations? I'm
We
just
have
curious
worked
because
with
we
the
always
VA.
believe there's strength in numbers.
We have provided the Palm Beach VA with a facility therapy dog, and his name was Bruce, and he visited every room every day. We paid for that. He's now retired, and we are in the process of replacing Bruce. Bruce has worked for 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, it's really powerful, even for dogs to go into facilities. My wife, who's an RN in nursing homes, I remember
yeah.
at one point where they used to bring once a week dogs in
It's amazing.
for the residents there.
Yeah.
And when they were there, it actually, the health factor, if someone had high blood pressure, their blood pressure actually
Goes
dropped.
down.
Yeah. This
We've
is just by
actually-
petting an animal that can happen.
We've actually been told that when Bruce was at the VA, that overall blood pressures, that's the specific example they gave us, amongst
Yeah.
other, settled down.
And the happiness, the smiles that you don't normally see.
Yeah, you
but-
can't be around a dog and not smile.
Right?
That's licking you.
Not these dogs, these dogs.
Yeah.
We actually have a film on our website called The Gift of Life, and you can see some of the veterans in the Palm Beach VA light up when the dog comes in the room.
Yeah, and we're going to put your links on our
Website.
website,
Thank you.
which is www.real-convo.com. We've
Look
got to get
at
that
looks
in.
at me like he has to think about it. Like, is that right? That's right. Yes, it is. So it's real-convo.com. Yes, we will put all that information on there. So let's start with if someone is interested in donating to your cause.
Our website
Do you
has-
accept individuals?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. They can donate right from the website. There's a donate button. They donate
can
with
do
their
it.
credit card. Yep.
Is there
right
like
there.
a minimum? Does it matter? And
Doesn't
again,
matter, any
90% of it goes to the actual cause, and you have it's pretty expensive too to come up with $800,000, and you're the only
It's
paid.
very hard. We don't even have it right now. So we are pushing for grants. And
Has COVID made it more difficult? I would imagine so.
it's made it more difficult for veterans. They're giving up. We're hearing from our training facilities that these veterans on the list just can't wait anymore. Please help us. And we just don't have the funding.
So
We
you
need the
have
funding.
40 veterans right now on the list?
Yes.
Yes.
And typically, by the time they go on the list, how long does it take?
Some of them have already trained with their dog and have bonded with them, and the dog is not even paid for yet. And we can't take that dog away, of course not. So we really need the funding. We really need the help.
Is it harder? But it's harder this year, I would imagine.
It's very hard this year.
What's your ultimate goal? Like, how many vets would you like to help, or is it just
As many as
you
possible.
possibly can?
That's what we do.
Much as
Do you
possible.
increase? I would imagine every year, right? You started from 2007. It's
have
2020.
increased,
Yes.
What did you start with? How many did you help that first year? Do you
Oh
remember?
gosh, I believe they only were able to help about 12. I think at the
12 or
time.
14 maybe, yeah.
And then you've increased to
Yeah,
on
as the word
average-
got out and we've gotten more funding, we've been able to fund more service dogs, yes.
But are you still encouraging veterans to apply anyway?
Oh,
Even if you're
absolutely.
on the wedding list, I don't want to discourage anybody,
no,
right?
no, the need doesn't go. The need seems to be growing.
The need is definitely
The
growing.
need seems to be growing.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
Yes, and
so.
we want all of them to apply, and some of them do sit on that wait list almost a year and a half
Is
at
that
times.
pretty average right now?
Yeah, it's pretty average. It takes time. These puppies have to train a long time before they're even
So don't
ready.
wait. Even don't get discouraged
Don't
by that
wait
number.
Right.
If There's
now.
40 on the waiting list. That doesn't mean you shouldn't sign up. You should do it now because it does, like you said.
And they can
the
contact
time.
our office directly to apply. I will take their DD 214. I will send their information to one of my facilities that's closest to where they are to get them going. I will push for them.
Yeah, the DD-214 that Lisa mentions is the basic document that when you separate from the military, there's your whole history, including what kind of discharge you had, rank, your specialties, awards and decorations, et cetera, et cetera. That's a standard form, a DD-214. Every veteran knows what it is.
Because our mission is to save veterans' lives with service dogs. So we focus on the veteran, that it is a legit veteran.
Did Erwin have a message?
Freedom is not free.
Oh, I love that.
That was Erwin's
his
message,
and he
Freedom
said
is
it
not
every
free.
day. Amazing man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
He's an amazing man,
I'm
and you
so-
are an amazing man, and you're
Oh,
amazing
Mal.
for what you do too.
Such
Wow,
a
I love
pleasure to have you on. Any
you.
last words that you want to say to our viewers?
Just help us save a life.
We're here, like I say, you'd be surprised at some of the phone calls we get. We raise money only for the service dogs. Roughly 90% goes to the service dog.
Every dollar
That's it.
helps.
Every dollar
yeah.
helps.
Yep, Mel, again, thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for your service.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for volunteering. Lisa, really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you for having us. Thank
it's
you
such
for
a
the
pleasure.
exposure.
It's
And
an
I want to
honor.
remind everybody, we said it before, but we are going to have all the information that you heard today. If you'd like to donate money, or maybe you're a veteran, or maybe you know someone who's a veteran,
Right.
and you would like to be on this waiting list, we're going to have all that information on our website, and that is, again,
www.real-convo.com.
you are so good. I think you're getting it.
Yeah, I'm getting
He's
it.
learning. He's
Thank
learning.
you so much.
I created
and that
it,
will
I
do
should
it for
get it.
this edition of Real Convo. We'll see you next time.